All right. His name is Erik Haugen. I had no idea until his sister Shannon reached out to me and said, "Hey, my brother is he's in the movie Ferrari and he's coming to town and we're from here." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me." These are little nuggets that people just don't know about. Erik, writer, producer, actor, enjoys being involved in period pieces and historical true stories. You got a screenplay you're working on, Racing the Sun. That's pre-war Grand Prix, right? And that's in Europe. That hopefully is going to get greenlit for you for 2024. Of course, the movie you're in right now, that is Ferrari. That comes out in theaters Christmas Day. And, of course, director Michael Mann. I mean, people my age remember Michael Mann from, of course, Miami Vice. And that's you and I were talking off air. And that's where Michael Mann got his love for Ferraris, was doing Miami Vice.
Absolutely.
Well, dude, welcome home, man.
Thanks. Yeah, it's no snow, but it's still getting colder, little by little.
What did you think rolling in here from Italy and there's no snow on the ground?
It's strange. Little, it's there's little snow banks here and there, but it's not as cold and not as white as usual.
So this just came out today. Reuters just did this piece today on the movie. I mean, everything I'm reading and seeing, I mean, people are just raving about Ferrari, saying this is fantastic. And one of the stars, and of course, Penelope Cruz, and she plays, I believe, Laura Ferrari. And she said, even if someone like her really has no interest in cars, she said the film has so many other layers that focus on family and relationships. And that's what a lot of the critics are saying. It's, look, even if you're not a car person, it's just well written. It's more than just Ferraris and racing. It's got it's intense. It's got everything a movie needs.
Yeah, a lot of crisis. The 4 months of Enzo's life in '57 was a big crisis. On the verge of bankruptcy, his wife finds out about his mistress.
And his mistress had a kid, right? Him and his okay.
So it's real dramatic, very, very an emotionally dramatic roller coaster, as well as the action of the race. So
how did you get involved with the movie? I mean, you're hanging out with Patrick Dempsey, Penelope Cruz, Adam Driver, Shalina Woodley, is that her name? She was the one that came up here and raised hell at Dapple. How'd you get involved in this, dude?
Well, I've been kind of living and researching, obsessing about the history in Ferrari for at least 10 years now already.
Why? And, what got you into Ferraris?
Just living in Los Angeles, loving cars, just kind of once I started learning the history of Formula One and the people behind the cars, the racers, the drivers, the designers, the companies, that's what got me hooked. And just decided to, 3 years ago during COVID, go there and really kind of go to the Mecca, go to the Holy Land.
Where it started.
Yeah, where in Motor Valley is where everything is, Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini, Alfa Romeo, and all the car companies from Italy and where racing began, basically in pre-war in the 20s and 30s.
They were maniacs back then.
Yeah, I mean, they were fearless. It was... Basically, every race, someone could die or be, very much hospitalized, a lot of broken bones, or worse, or dead. No. And so that's where my passion and obsession went into pre-war racing, and then post-war racing also. Still was kind of there was no safety yet. These cars would go 150 plus miles an hour, no seat belts, no helmet. They started having helmets in the after the war.
And so. even when they came out, I mean, let's be honest, those helmets didn't do. I mean, that was not a good brain bucket. All right, it just wasn't.
Yeah, if you're going to crash at 100, 150, your chances are you're going to smash your brain in or break all your bones in your back or not survive.
Yeah,
but
kind of like you and I were talking off air too. They're referred to as Pete's cutter wheels or tires. I mean, they're just thin. There was no traction.
No. I mean, it's and that's pretty much what. There was only a few tire companies. These wire wheels, spoke wheels and drum brakes. But these things would go very high speeds and out of control. And so the Mille Miglia was based on public roads, 1,000 miles around Italy, and started in 27. And by 57, it made drivers legends. Guys that won it, like Sterling Moss won it in 55, and it was just So to win it was pretty much the biggest prestige for racers.
And again, this was a 1,000-mile race.
Yep, 1,000 miles.
And that's what this movie's based on, the one at 57.
Exactly. Yep. So the Mille Miglia, which now exists as kind of a tribute rally since the 70s, but starts in northern Italy, goes all the way down through around Rome, back through the mountains, and then up. So it's a 1,000-mile loop from Brescia to Brescia through all of Italy.
Well, okay, so your character, you're one of the drivers in this. You drive a car, what, 531?
I'm the navigator.
Okay.
So the guy that was the real navigator, Edmund Nelson, was American.
That's who you portray.
So I'm Edmund Nelson, the navigator for Alfonso di Portago, who was a nobleman of Spain. So he was a wealthy nobleman. He was godson of the king of Spain. Lots of wealth, lots of nobility, and so he became a Ferrari driver. But Edmund Nelson was his best friend and kind of an older brother, mentor to him. And so they raced a lot of races together. He was his trainer, and he became a bobsled in the Olympics, Di Portago. So he was kind of a playboy. Also had a wife, had kids, had girlfriends, dated.
Well, a lot of these guys were, because I mean that was. I mean, back in the day, even today for race car drivers, but back then, I mean, if you were one of these drivers, these names, I mean, you were royalty. You could have whatever you wanted, and a lot of people got hurt. It was just a completely different world back then.
They were basically rock stars.
Yeah, exactly.
To be a driver and to be a Ferrari driver was what everybody wanted, and so he couldn't, he would buy race cars, but then he wanted to race, and then he finally, through deaths of other drivers, becomes a team Ferrari driver. And of course, Edmund, who I portray as his navigator, and we just had a blast filming. I mean, just to be on the roads and be doing something that's so important for the history, because that was the last Mille Miglia. The 57 race was the
last
one.
real one.
Yep,
that's it.
It ended after that because of the tragedy and the drivers' deaths and the bystander spectator deaths.
There are by the way, if you have questions for Erik Haugen, 701-293-9000. A movie is Ferrari, and hits theaters here on Christmas Day. How cool is that? He's in studio hanging out with us this afternoon, and a local guy made good, man. I don't want to give away any scenes. I mean, you actually see it in the trailer, but the effects are amazing. There's one where there's a crash, and it's like I was watching it back in my office, and I had it on widescreen, and when that crash happened, I'm like, wow, that I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Sure.
I don't want to give it away on the air, but it's like, holy smokes, man, that's eye-opening. And that's what happened.
Yeah, it's hard to say by, spoiling it or giving it away, because it's in the trailer, and if people want to read, they can go and read the actual story of what happened. Mm-hmm. But most people would rather just go see it in the theater and be kind of shocked. And the shock factor is people have left the theater, in some of the screenings or the pre-screenings, and in awe, because the story is so good. The whole the production value, the cinematography, the story, the locations. Yeah,
let me talk real quick, because it was in Modena? Is that how you pronounce it?
Modena.
Mm-hmm. And I was reading up on that too, and Mann wanted to achieve a realistic creation of 57 Italy, and I guess this town is just completely unchanged where you guys filmed.
Sure.
I mean, nothing's changed in this town since 57.
And even before, there's buildings that are hundreds of years old, villas that are 300-400 years old, the city centers that are a couple hundred years old, and so a lot of the buildings are still easily 100 years old. Pre-war cobblestone street. We were driving on cobblestone streets. And so it just it already looks like it's 57.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything you had to do to make it look like. Now, true or false? Let me reading some stuff here. The Ferrari house, that's the real Ferrari house that's in the movie?
Yeah, yep. And a lot of the things were like the barber shop, for example. Yeah. Michael said all those things were there, and the cinematographer, Eric Messerschmidt, just did an amazing, incredible job just seeing and, being the eye behind all the camera guys. So that's what made the hue of the color and the tint of all of the time to look so period perfect.
Goes on to say, also, when you're in the family mausoleum, that is actually the Ferrari mausoleum. Also, when you're seeing Enzo in the chair in the barber shop, that is the chair that Enzo actually sat in. That's the real chair from back in the barber shaving is the son of Antonio, who was the real barber.
Yeah.
How nuts is that?
So you can't get more authentic, and that's what Michael really did. And so it's back to your question of how did I get involved? So the stunt
let's
coordinator.
get back to that.
Yeah, no, it's the beauty of the film.
Oops, forgot about that. I was getting engrossed in the whole set.
Well, and like when you see it, you'll understand that the beauty of in the filming of it is incredible. But the stunt drivers were a lot of more our friends of mine, and the stunt coordinator is a friend of mine. So he was a stunt coordinator on Baby Driver and Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so, which not outside of the U.S., it's called Le Mans '66, not Ford versus Ferrari. But so Robert Nagel is such an incredible guy, the nicest guy you'll meet, the most intelligent, the person that is a technical. He can choreograph any four-wheel, speed scenes with racing, crashing, and just he nails it every time. And so he basically said to me, if I wanted to be involved, and so I
hell yeah.
Well, and that was through I had to read some lines and tape myself, and basically it had to be approved, and they said, yeah, you got the part. So then they flew me. I was at the time in Goodwood in the UK, which is the Goodwood revival for all the old cars in England.
Okay.
And so I was there, and they flew me back to Italy from London. And on the way, they had basically all the things taken care of, the paperwork. I get there, I go into fitting, and they fit all the old suits. They put me up for the night, and the next morning fly me back to London to go to actually be involved in all these old cars. So, and then a week later, we start shooting. That's how quickly it happened.
Wow. How long did it take to make the film?
I believe before we got there as the race side of it, I think they were filming for around 2 months, I would say, like July and August, and then we started the Mille Miglia, all the race, the daily race, scenes in September and October. So those were a month and a half.
And remember, folks, I mean, even if you're not into cars, this movie isn't just, you're not going to a movie to see, just cars racing around. This is Michael Mann. I mean, this is a drama. This is a story. It's pretty damn impressive.
And it's getting, a lot of, like you've read, a lot of great, a lot of critics are giving it good reviews. It's having lots of potential for Academy Award nominations in different categories. So I'm just happy for I'm just a small little person who got to sit front row and enjoy the being in it.
And a guy that has a love for these cars.
Yeah.
What are the chances that, hey, you want to be in the movie? You want to be actually in Ferrari the movie? Come on.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
It was the universe just basically giving me this opportunity to do what I love, and still doing what I'm doing with my pre-war project. But to be around the stunt drivers, to be in these cars, and I know the car builders, and just because I'm already there. It was a dream come true for that couple months.
Before I go to the phones here, Eric, let me ask you. So, racing the Sun again? That's a pre-war Grand Prix racing in Europe. Has Michael Mann seen this?
No, it's really just, I kind of was.
Are you going to try to get it in front of him? Because
I think he's going to be doing Heat 2 next.
Oh, is he?
So with Adam Driver already, and that's huge for him. So our kind of next steps in the works of making it is getting the right director, getting the right producers, getting the right agents and talent.
Do we have anybody at Assembly, our new Assembly, $1 billion Assembly Studios down there in Atlanta? Any producers down there we can find? Let me grab Cody here. Hey, Cody, you're up on a Jay Thomas show with Erik Haugen. Go ahead.
Hey, Eric, say, buddy, hey, we went to high school together back at Oak Grove, and hey, man, I just want to say congratulations on what you got going on. It's always a pleasure to see some people from the past doing great things, and I just want to say, happy holidays to you and your family. Hey, I'm just proud of you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, that's thanks a lot. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you as well. It's good to hear an old voice. Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome, bud.
Thanks, Cody. Appreciate the phone call. 701-293-9000, 326. All right, can we, I don't know if this is like big movie secrets, but when we're talking, can we talk about how they handled the racing, how they had you guys all strapped in, how that works?
Yeah, I mean, it's movie magic is incredible, and so the stunt coordinator Robert Nagel, he received an Academy Award for science and technical. I think it's called technical sciences. It's something like that nature. But they designed this. It's called the Biscuit and the Biscuit Mini, and they're basically trailers that are drivable. They put the cars on, and so and then they have usually the car, the picture vehicle. So they're like a Porsche Cayenne or a Mercedes ML with the big arm and the crane and cameras around the car. So they'll drive and get the action scenes. Yeah. But when they get the close-ups of, with mics and when you're doing your scenes talking, the car is on the Biscuit. So the stunt driver is roll caged in, helmet on, and they're driving just as fast as the race cars are going. So it's like a symphony, and it's all orchestrated to a perfection.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was like I said, a front row seat to be part of it. Was a dream come true, really.
All right, let's Ronnie, let's do a break now. We got bottom of the hour here coming up. We'll do a break. I also want to talk about how you got into all this, how you started. You come from a Cormorant, Fargo. You go out to Hollywood, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit more about racing the sun. Also, we'll find out what your favorite car is, and because you're a car guy, dude, you're loving this stuff.
I mean, I love European cars, but I still love good old American muscle cars, hot rods. I mean, all the above. I love off-road, Baja, Dakar, but I love gassers, drag. I love all cars.
As long as it goes fast.
Yeah.
As long as
4 wheels, 2 wheels.
As long as it goes fast and it runs on fossil fuel, I'm into it, man, right?
Exactly.
All right, yep. 329 Jay Thomas Show, 701-293-9000. Email studio at WDAYRadioNow.com. More with writer, producer, actor Erik Haugen. He's in the new movie debuts here in theaters Christmas Day. And the movie's called Ferrari, directed by that guy, Michael Mann. Also, Penelope Cruz is in it. Actor Adam Driver is in it. Shailene Woodley is in it. Patrick Dempsey's in it, and Erik Haugen's in it. So looking forward to seeing the movie. I think, like I said, I'm serious. I dug around and said, okay, let me see if I can find some bad reviews and see what people are bitching about. Mm-hmm. Dude, I could not find any bad reviews on this movie.
No, it's surprising.
Well, Jay, that's because it hasn't been out yet. No, it's been out. Actually, overseas, it's been out. And usually it's the folks overseas. Those are your nasty critics. I couldn't find anything bad on it.
Well, some people told me they were concerned about some bad reviews from car guys.
Yeah.
And they haven't happened. So I was happy to hear that people have seen it and loved it.
Let me tell you something. Usually when car guys are giving bad reviews, it's because it's not the model or make of cars they like.
Or go to, it's a documentary on History Channel. That's what they need to watch.
Well, let's be real. It's because they didn't get to be in it.
Well, that too. Exactly. Yeah. Give you a rim shot on that one, 494. Yeah, come on down now. Let's take a look. Dude, he drove it here with the freaking top off. Are you kidding me?
Anyway, he had nice new custom seats, which are good.
Yeah, that's what he did. He was proud of the custom seats and he said, I'm going to put the Italy colors on it, and I don't care what people say. It's like, no, it's your Ferrari. Do what you want, man. So we went and got Erik Haugen. He's got himself a Truly. He's like, well, they don't have these in Italy. What are you, a little cold?
It's chill. It's a little dry, like cold.
So, yeah, I can't believe that Mike drove his Ferrari over here with the top down. It's like, dude, it's not that nice out, man.
Well, he was excited.
And whose black Porsche sitting next to that?
Good question.
Yeah, I noticed that. Whose is that?
Probably Neil's.
Oh, is that? Oh, I bet. Oh, sure, it's Neil's. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'm not driving my Ferrari Dino. I'm going to drive that other gentleman that's here. He's going to come hang out with us. Mm-hmm. Neil, he's got a 72 Ferrari Dino.
Oh, the beautiful cars.
Oh, this thing is a great story. I found out about this car, probably 4 or 5 years ago. A viewer sent me a picture of the rear end of this Ferrari Dino in a garage. It looks like it's ready to fall over. Looked like a dirt floor. I'm like, dude, we got to film this. He's like, well, no, it's not mine. I'm in the neighborhood quite often, and the car, I guess, sat in there for years, and Neil got his hands on it finally. And is it still in Wisconsin getting restoration? It was in great shape, but he said, I got this car, might as well just redo the leather, redo all the
appreciation
seals.
on those is through the roof.
It's nuts. Well, another one that shocks me, because I mean, this is right here, and I always thought that these things were ugly as hell. Yeah. And that is the Ferrari Testarossa. To me, they just look like somebody slapped a bunch of stuff on the side of a Fiero. And I cannot believe
they did for many years. The replicas.
You could pick those things up for $40,000-$50,000.
Yeah.
You're not getting them now for what, $175,000, $200,000+ for these things.
Yeah, they go for $200,000, $300,000, and the same with the Daytonas and the Dinos. Those are some are $500,000 to $1 million.
It's crazy. Now, do you got a Ferrari?
I don't. No, I
stay away from Mike, because he's trying to sell his. When we're done here looking at, I'm like, no, I don't think so, buddy. That's a little bit out of my ballpark.
Yeah, and it's a mechanic's car, so if you know how to work on them, or you got a mechanic, you got to have them run good, because they're old. They're carbureted.
Yeah,
there's no. They're simple.
Well, here's a crazy story for you before we get back to your story. So we were up in little Fordville, North Dakota filming. A guy calls us. So yeah, I got a bunch of cars in my front room. Clint, if you're listening, Clint. Yeah, front room. This place was beautiful. Roll in there. He's got the classic cars, and there sits a Lamborghini, and there sits a Ferrari. So we're talking, and it's like, dude, you're in Fordville, North Dakota. What happens if you have to get this Ferrari worked on? You can't just bring it to the local mechanic. You got to be a certified. He says, I got certified. I'm like, what?
Huh.
So if somebody's got a Ferrari here in northern North Dakota, there's a guy in Fordville, North Dakota that's certified to work on them and Lamborghinis. Like, yeah, I'm certified to work on them. He said, otherwise, there's no way I could afford this thing. It's crazy.
So he owns it, and he's his own service, his own mechanic.
Yep, he's his own mechanic. So there you go. All right, dude. So how did you get into all this? Let's talk a little bit about that. You grew up here. How did you get from here to Hollywood, and what happened when you got to Hollywood?
Just many years, just did a lot of things. Raced mountain bikes, did construction.
Out there?
Yeah, out
there. But I mean, what made you go, I'm going? Because I did that. I left Hibbing, Minnesota, working in radio when I was in high school. Some record label rep heard me. What is this guy doing in Hibbing, Minnesota? And the program director says, it's not a guy, it's a kid. He's a teenager. Like, are you kidding me? So I went from Hibbing to Hollywood, worked at the Mighty Met.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I didn't last long out there. I was terrified. It's like, no, this is not my life, man. But you made it out there. You just stuck it out.
I left a few years ago, and now I go back to visit, and it's just not the way it was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people still live there that I know, and they probably will always live there. But, I think once you travel a lot, once you see other places, you realize there's a lot of places you can live in and not be there in the rat race.
Yeah.
The traffic's so bad.
Oh, I lived out there in 85. And when I lived out there, that was, you probably don't remember this, but they had a sniper on the freeways out there by I think it was out by Sherman Oaks. And everybody was terrified to drive because you didn't know if you were going to get shot that day or not. Yeah, it was pure chaos. And that was 85. I can't imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, it's just too many people. I mean, it's a lot of people. So I go visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. And, just the evolution of doing things. And I got into, into cars 10 years ago. And, was just, and then the cars I loved, everything basically European. And then I started to read about the history of racing. And I've always loved racing, Formula One, Indy,
the
NASCAR.
open wheel.
Yeah, just all racing in general. And, but I just, once I started to go down that rabbit hole of reading more about authors writing stories on drivers and times in history, that's when I became, really passionate about learning more about the origin of Formula One. And so that's, it's been a 10-year journey on that. And it's getting further and further and further. Like when you believe in something, or you're so passionate about something, or in my case, obsessive about a story or a time, an era. It was, it's considered the golden age of Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
So nobody knows. A lot of drivers, a lot of racers I've talked with, they don't know this. They don't know the history and the stories. These are well-known people, and so when I tell them, they say
they don't even know the stories.
No, people have heard of the drivers and heard of everybody knows Ferrari, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And but they say wow, your energy is infectious because you're so passionate about this, and that's why it's been this long journey. And so this was just it's been hard to make a racing film. That's been the hard part for me is trying, because back when they did Rush close to 10 years ago now, it wasn't a huge success. Yeah. So everything was kind of compared to that Ferrari. It was Ferrari based, and the Hunt versus Lauda Rush. So nothing came about until the Ford versus Ferrari, which was a success.
I was just going to ask you, how much did Ford versus Ferrari, how much has that helped out this genre of movies?
I think that was, so Baby Driver is nothing race related, but it was a lot of people loved it because of all the chase scenes and the driving. And like I said, in Robert Nagel's, that was his baby, his stunt coordinating. And so when Ford versus Ferrari, he did all that. It was the success of the film for people that were, not just race fanatics. Going to the theater. I think even my own mother, a few years ago, went to it, and other girlfriends, moms, daughters, sons, dads, car guys. That was basically the turn. I think people are like, oh, okay, historic race films, don't have to be just racing.
No, exactly, and that's what's making Ferrari such a success, because again, it's not. Okay, we're going to watch them go fast and turn left. It's not racing. It's got an actual story to it, and it's the real story, and where it's filmed, it hasn't changed. But the story is so fascinating. Many people probably do not know that Enzo Ferrari almost completely screwed up everything.
Yeah, many times. In fact, with drivers' deaths, he was more about winning races than selling cars. But back then, you had to sell cars to keep the company and the money to afford racing.
No,
and so it's very. There's the drama and the challenge and the hard times. That's what makes good stories. And so, like I said, I think Michael was an incredible director, a great person, great guy. The story was great, and he did a lot of the writing. Most of the writing, I believe, he made into his own vision, and it turned out great. And because Ford vs. Ferrari also did well at the box office, but it was up. It won a bunch of awards,
tons,
Oscars and stuff. So hopefully, I'm hoping that
that opens it up for open it up for this, and this opens it up for your movie that you're writing, your screen.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited and happy for Michael and everybody involved, the cinematographers, the producers, the actors involved, and that were great. And we're just, as being part of the more of the action side of it, the stunt drivers and the race sequences, that we're all excited to share our experiences from being in the driver's seat, if you will. And once it comes out, I think everybody in it will be able to show their photos and talk about it and be excited about how fun it was over a year ago.
Sure, exactly. Speaking of Ferraris, we there's sitting out in our parking lot, there's a 308 GTS Ferrari, and from what I'm reading here, from what I understand, you raced in the Targa Florio,
yep.
And you raced, you co-drove that exact Ferrari, not that exact same one, but the same model, sitting outside with Vincenzo Ferrari for 3 days, huh?
Yeah, that was October. And he asked me to be his navigator because me and the film as a navigator.
Sure.
And I said, well, I'm not. I don't know how to navigate. I've always been a driver.
Yeah.
And when I was racing rally 20 years ago, I'd have a co-driver with the map book and navigating, and so I basically he taught me how to read the road map, the map book on the go as we're going. We started and we ended up getting lost a couple times. He would be screaming and yelling, and I would yell back at him.
Okay.
And he said his wife one year did it with him, and his son-in-law, And I know them, and I met when we had dinner after, and I was laughing about how he would just get so crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, he does. And I'm like, but I'd yell right back at him. And
he probably respected that.
Yeah,
I mean, because I got to believe that's part of being a navigator. You know, hey, look, man, I'm your navigator. Shut the hell up. You know.
And we still got second overall in our Legends class. So we got a nice 32.5-foot trophy, and
jeez,
we're on the sea.
32.5-foot trophy.
Yeah, I mean no inch.
Oh, okay. I'm like, man.
No.
Holy cow! I want to see that trophy.
No, it's like this.
Okay.
So it was amazing because we did 3 days. We stop. We have lunches with everybody with all the different cars from 30s, 40s, 60s up to new. It was a Ferrari tribute with new Ferraris.
Okay.
So we were in this the 80 GTS.
Very cool.
And I joked with him. I said that was one of my favorite shows as a kid was Magnum PI.
Oh, yeah. We all love Magnum. Actually, I'm going to go home while on vacation. I'm going to go binge watch Miami Vice now.
Right.
I keep talking about Michael Mann.
Sure.
Hey, I want to introduce somebody to you, Eric, sitting next to you. His name is Neil Haaland. He owns a 1972 Ferrari Dino.
Very nice. Good, great. Those are the cars that weren't worth anything that are now becoming worth something.
Yeah, they're
And it's kind of like the last... it was named after his son, and who in the film he died.
Get right on that microphone. I'm gonna have to get on.
Yeah. So the Dino is basically that was, and that evolved into a lot of engines and cars like Lancias, rally cars, or Stratus, and a lot of things. So the Dino had history, but it wasn't really appreciated.
Till now.
And now,
yeah, now you're not picking one up. You better have some deep pockets.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he restores custom, Italian cars. I think he has one that's she's trying to sell for close to $1 million.
Oh,
but it's every centimeter is new.
Well, that's what yours, Neil's got great. There's history. That thing sat in a garage here in Fargo. I was telling to Eric about that a few years back. Somebody sent me a picture, and I'm like, this Dino is sitting in his garage. It's ready to fall over. I got to film this thing. And the guy's like, well, no, it's not mine. And the guy's not going to. I just thought you'd want to see it. I'm like, don't tease me like that. Then I show up at a car show about a year later here, and I'm like, that can't be that Dino, the picture that somebody sent me. And I came up, and Neil, I said, yep, that's the car. So what's the story behind that car, Neil?
Well, it's an interesting story, I think, because it was just out of the blue. My son-in-law and daughter lived right next door to the gentleman that owned it. Nobody really knew about it other than another neighbor. Well, there was a few people, but visiting with a neighbor, and we were talking, and he says to my son-in-law, have you met your neighbor? They just moved into this house. And he said, no, I haven't. He said, well, you'll like him. Super nice guy, real quiet, bachelor, kind of a recluse, but just very nice guy. And you don't see him much, but just, you'll like him. And he's got a Ferrari in his garage. And I was standing right there, and I said, so did you say something about a Ferrari? And he goes, yeah, he's got one in the garage. And I said, well, what is it? He said, I don't know. And I said, does it run? And he said, I don't think so. I said, what color is it? He said, it's red. I said, what kind of a Ferrari? He said, I have no idea, but it's been sitting there forever. So the story is it took me 35 times, I'm sure, that I asked my son-in-law, I need to meet this guy and see this car. And it took almost a year. And one day my son-in-law calls me. He says, hey, I just met my neighbor. He showed me the car. And I told him that you wanted to see it. And he said, well, whenever he wants to see it, have him come over. And I said, was it 10 minutes ago?
Yeah,
I'll be there.
Yeah,
so I dropped what I was doing. I went over to see it. And over the time of, this is almost a year after I knew about it. It took me a few more months and conversations to visit with this gentleman, get to know him a little bit. I negotiated over time a deal with him where he would sell me the car. I agreed to fix it up, keep it. I wasn't going to flip it. Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm going to give him a drive in it. It's within probably a week or so, 2 weeks of being done.
It's been in Wisconsin for a long time.
It's been in a shop at MPI in Appleton, Wisconsin. World-renowned Ferrari shop for 18 months. Been a very expensive project.
Yeah.
It's the Ferrari Rosso Red, I'm assuming.
It is. It is. It was originally blue metallizzato. I didn't know that. In fact, I had a paint expert go through the car with me, looking everywhere to see if a sign of any blue paint, because I did get the original paperwork from Matthias Bartz, who wrote that Dino Compendium book that I have, and he's an expert on it. And again, the letters, the information on the car show that it had a beige leather interior, which it's not. It was black, so I've had that restored. I did not have the car repainted blue. It was kind of like buying another house on top of a house. So it's just real expensive. And anyway,
the paint was actually pretty good on it from what I remember.
The paint is really good.
Yeah.
Paint is really good. So I've just had it completely refurbished. They call it a preservation, but they overhauled the motor, the transmission, everything, front to back, brakes, steering, everything has been gone through. So it's been in the shop for 18 months. It should be done. I mean, it's 99% done.
I can't wait because we get to film that thing, man. I cannot wait to see what this thing looks like.
I drove it a couple weeks ago for about 20 miles up in the hills outside of Appleton. And
how much of a difference from when you got it to now when it comes to driving it and handling?
Well, it's kind of like falling in love with it all over again because, for one thing, it's just you forget the experience of the big. It's got these big hips in the front. I mean, it's just the driving experience is out of this world because it just hugs a road. Just happened to have some beautiful roads, very curvy, hilly roads, no traffic, a new road, and got to drive it fast and
like it was meant to be.
Like it was meant to be. So
they're a fast, fun little sports car. Yeah.
So for you, Eric, any choice when it comes to Ferrari, which one's sitting in your garage?
If I had a choice to have a Ferrari, it'd probably be early '60s 250, like a short wheelbase Ferrari. Those are one of my favorites. Or the GTOs, of course. Those are, but now they're going for 50 to 60 million, 50, around that. So 50 million.
That is ridiculous.
So they're basically, I call them rolling art.
Yeah.
Art on wheels.
Ferraris are gorgeous, man. They're beautiful cars. Have you always wanted a Ferrari, Neil? Or this just like...
it was never really in my line of sight. I mean, honestly. No. I've always loved them. I've always loved the way they look. Yep. I like everything about them. They're expensive. They're expensive to maintain or can be. And for me, this is kind of like a perfect little car because it's a small engine. It's actually one of the more dependable, easier to work on. And again, it's all
carbureted.
What I'm getting, it's all new. So I really am hoping to have no issues with it. But, it's like any other car that you buy. Buying it is one thing. Having the money to fix it up and maintain it and keep it up is kind of another.
And the thing is, everyone in Italy that I know, in different comparisons to people in the U.S., they like to show them more. In Italy, they like to drive them.
Yeah.
And they drive them hard.
Because they were meant to be driven and driven hard.
And they're not decreasing value. A lot of people here grow up thinking if you scratch it, it'll depreciate the value there. A car, an old sports car that's driven hard and used keeps its value, essentially, unless it's crashed, of course.
Well,
or something.
Exactly.
But using it for what it's made for and going fast, having fun through roads. Use the gears hard, use the engine hard, use the brakes and tires hard, and it's basically a religion. Ferrari is a religion in Motor Valley and obviously worldwide.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that this is your Ferrari story, and it's kind of like you're part of that Ferrari family.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
And I think one of the more interesting parts of this particular car is this guy bought this car when he was, I think, 31 years old.
Oh, okay.
He, unfortunately, there was a problem with the engine. He over-revved it. Something went wrong. He parked it, and now he's, I think, 74. So you talk about a love affair with the Ferrari.
To keep it that long.
He parked the car, had it for 15 years. He had it in his garage in California covered. Moved to Fargo, put a cover on it. He said he always planned to get it fixed up, but he
It's
had
time.
the car
Time
for
was running.
over 40 years in his garage with a cover on it.
Wow.
Until I was fortunate enough to run across it. And
now
An
you're
in-town barn find, basically.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and
It
if you
is.
saw the garage that car was sitting in, I'll never forget when somebody sent me that picture. I'm shocked. I'm like, because as soon as I saw it, I knew. I'm like, my God, that's a Ferrari Dino. That garage is gonna fall on this car, man. Yeah, for you to get it, you would be the next caretaker of it is very cool. Well, gentlemen, this has been an absolute blast, man. Very, very fun afternoon. This is the way you wrap things up before you go on vacation.
Nice.
The movie, again, debuts here in the States Christmas Day, man.
And I believe I didn't.
Are you going to be here for a screening of it at the theater?
We're going to be at I don't know which theaters, but we're going to go and be there for the opening day, Christmas Day, to see it.
Which theater's it at, Shannon? Which one? It's at the West Acres Cinema. There you go, West
Marcus,
Acres.
yeah.
Marcus Theaters.
With the Dream Lounger. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, remember we had the topic about places you shouldn't fall asleep and people are telling their stories? Yeah, that was I have to stay out of them Dream Loungers, man.
Well, and having just seen the
Do
trailer.
you remember when they came out with the Dream Loungers? Do you remember the controversy over the logo for the Dream Loungers on the theaters?
No, I do not.
Just look
I'll
it up.
Google it, yeah.
They look like something they shouldn't look like.
Oh, okay.
And they sat like that for years, and finally somebody must be with Marcus or whoever said, "Yeah, we need to change the picture of the Dream Lounger. That's really inappropriate to have on the side of a theater." Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, Eric. It really has.
Yeah.
You're a great guy, and kudos to you, man.
Well,
You're
thanks for having me. It's,
You're loving life, brother.
Yeah, it's living the dream, and the ups and downs. You know, the all in everything in between.
No.
So thanks for having me.
So when it comes to the acting thing, do you liking this more than writing and directing, or
We'll just see.
I'll just do it all?
Yeah, if I could continue to write, period pieces or ones about racing stories, that's what I'm trying to do, and then be one of the producers and work with the best producers, and be an actor in those. Great, but I don't know. We'll just kind of see where the where things go on the acting front. But it was fun to be part of the stunt driving and one of the actors portraying a real person. So that
And we'll see you in the movie, or you're the driver car 531.
531.
What Ferrari is that one?
So that's a Ferrari 335S.
Okay.
They looked the same as the 315s, but they were different engine displacements and some different bells and whistles. But they were. There was 4 built for the film because he had 4 drivers, and but they were fun cars to drive. These were all basically updated, new tubular chassis.
Sure, yeah.
And drilled, slotted brakes, coilover suspension, fast as can be. And but they're just a replica. So
Just a replica. I'll take just a replica, man. I'll take that. Neil, thanks for coming down here and hanging out with us, brother. Great
Thank
story
you.
on your
Thank
Dino.
you.
And Mike brought his 308. Mike, thanks for bringing the 308 out, man. That thing is beautiful too. Merry Christmas to you and the family, and Happy New Year. And your sister, when she reached out to me, was just so giddy that her brother was coming over, man. She's just like, "Oh my God, my brother's like." So she sent me the whole thing, and then I never check my when I get home on the evenings and on the weekends, my phone gets shut off and it goes on the counter. I want nothing to do with social media, any of that crap. And Alex, my wife, she's like, "Hey, some gal is trying to get a hold of you because you're not responding to her messages about her brother or something." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Then I said, "I better check it out." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got to reach out to her, man. This is awesome." Eric, kudos, brother. Thanks,
well,
man.
it's good that this is your last show and it's holidays.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I think, 2 hours, 10 minutes, you can immerse yourself in the story, and it's got 74 reviews.
Yeah, it is.
72% Rotten Tomato score, which is
Fantastic. Yeah, that really is. So go check it out. It's in theaters starting Christmas. Yeah, Monday, Christmas. We're movie to go see. Go see it. Ferrari, man. Some big names in it. And,